Is the film Jurassic Park liberal or conservative? The revolutionary and evolutionary film is a landmark in cinematic history, so of course it's important that we uncover the ideology behind the famous Jurassic Park was released over 25 years ago. I'm getting so old. It was a blockbuster of epic proportions and briefly dethroned Star Wars as the biggest film of all time. But then the Star Wars Special Edition came out 3 years later and took back the crown, but not long before James Cameron was like,
I'm the king of the world!
A franchise was born with many sequels still being produced today, and along with endless amounts of merchandising, Jurassic Park is considered one of cinema's greatest achievements. Audiences are still talking about the film over 2 decades later, which means it's become ingrained in our cultural psyche. It's obvious that movies have the magical power of influencing people, and since Jurassic Park is a blockbuster film filled with many philosophical themes, I think it's important if we find out if the film was more ideologically liberal or conservative.
Hold on to your butts.
Author Michael Crichton wrote some brilliant books, including Jurassic Park, but with all due respect to his work, I'm going to be focusing strictly on the movie adaptation for this assessment. I mean, it works better that way, and it's way more fun, unless you want me up here for hours doing this. Chapter 1.
I really hate that man.
To assess a film's ideology, we're going to need to focus on 3 key elements, which is content, characters, and message. Just to emphasize, I'm strictly focusing on the ideology of being liberal or conservative, so no political talk going on here. Lastly, it's always courteous to give a spoiler warning to those who may not have seen Jurassic Park yet. But seriously, if you haven't seen it, I guarantee these are the reactions on people's faces once you tell them you haven't.
See, nobody cares.
Content. Jurassic Park tells the story of a group of scientists who visit a newly invented theme park full of bioengineered dinosaurs. And you could probably imagine what happens next.
Boy, do I hate being right all the time.
The film was rated PG-13 for intense science fiction terror, and I think that's pretty accurate. Steven Spielberg is in peak form as director here as he crafts very memorable scenes using great set pieces, animatronics, and many other practical effects. Whoa, it's a water ripple! But the biggest achievement is the use of CGI, which at the time had not really been used all that often and still holds up to this day. The irony is that the most dated thing about the movie is the computers they're actually using in the movie.
It's an interactive CD-ROM!
The film was groundbreaking on many levels, and once you add that with a unique story, I'm gonna say the content is a little more liberal. Characters. Now there's an assortment of characters we get to know in this film. First, there's Dr. Grant, a paleontologist who hates the way younger people smell.
They do not
Some of them smell. Baby smell.
There's Dr. Sattler, the woman who likes to look at poop. You also have John Hammond as your Walt Disney character trying to convince everyone that he's built the most magical place on Earth.
Hello.
Say hello.
Hello.
There's a couple of kids who are just kind of there to serve up higher stakes in the action scenes. But of course, the most memorable character is Jeff Goldblum's Ian Malcolm, the guy who basically has all the best lines.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Life, finds a way.
That is one big pile of
Most of these characters are pretty smart and usually have more personality than you would come to expect from a dinosaur expert or a scientist. I mean, I don't think I've ever met one, but is this how they really are? All of these characters are put through intense survival scenarios as they try to escape the dinosaurs. By the time we get to the end, everybody's perspective of a dinosaur has basically been changed.
After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. So have I.
With memorable personalities attached to arcs that see them reverse a lot of their previous perspectives, I'm going to say that the characters are a little more liberal. Message. Jurassic Park is addressing a lot of themes about evolution, the dangers of technology, man versus nature, and how one bad employee can really screw everything up.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please!
We first see our heroes become mystified by the existence of dinosaurs, but the film brilliantly shows the problematic side of how new discoveries are not always ethical ones. For instance, we see that the T-Rex is standing on flat land right here, but 5 minutes later we discover that that area is actually a cliff. Not very ethical script supervising, am I right?
Why?
Now, between all the action scenes of running and screaming, the film focuses on the characters coming to terms with the idea that dinosaurs and human beings were probably never meant to exist together.
Back to stick, boy. You like the stick? You like it? And no wonder you're extinct.
To simplify the main message, Jurassic Park is a cautionary tale about man wielding power without realizing the consequences. Seems like a pretty traditional theme that we've heard before, so I'm gonna say that the message is a little more conservative. So with a final score of 2-1, I'm gonna say that Jurassic Park is a more literal movie. It is a remarkable film with many unique qualities, which is why it's become a classic, so this ideology does fit it well. But is it too much to ask for just one decent sequel? This is just my opinion, so if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos like this.